These pieces are worth more than your annual income. People like you don't belong at Aurelian. The words cracked across the showroom like a whip, slicing through the stillness of the Rodeo Drive flagship. The hum of soft jazz stuttered to a halt in the minds of those within earshot. Customers turned, some with raised eyebrows, others with quiet approval, as though order had been restored. Behind the counter, Trent Bradley stood like a statue, arms folded neatly, silver hair precision cut. His ice-blue eyes hardened on the man he believed out of place. The man wore dark jeans, a plain navy sweater, and Italian loafers, simple, quiet wealth. He had paused too long in front of a necklace, an Australian pink diamond set in rose gold, priced at $100,000. Security drifted forward, uneasy. Bradley raised a hand. Cole, escort him out. He's disrupting the atmosphere. The air inside thickened. No one in the store knew what was coming. Not the security guard tightening his grip on the man's forearm, nor the manager smiling like victory was inevitable. What they were about to witness would ripple through the luxury world far beyond this showroom. I've witnessed moments like this before, but it's never the words that stay with you. It's how they say them. No shouting, no insults, just a look, as if you walked into the wrong room at the wrong time, wearing the wrong skin. I used to think silence was classy. Now I know it's just a more elegant way to humiliate someone, and none of them could have imagined the storm about to break, or that the next 2 minutes would reshape the luxury world in America. This is Unveiled Wealth. If you believe respect shouldn't depend on appearance, you're in the right place. Downtown Los Angeles. A penthouse window, R1. Derrick Harlan, barefoot, adjusts his plain silver wedding band, the only piece he ever wears. Aurelian fine jewelry didn't need him to wear its name. He owned it. If you've ever believed respect shouldn't be a luxury, you're not alone. Miles from that showroom on Rodeo Drive, high above downtown Los Angeles, Derrick Harlan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse. The only thing adorning his fingers was a plain silver wedding band, worn smooth from 16 years of marriage. It was also the only jewelry he ever wore. Despite being the sole owner of Aurelian fine jewelry, one of the most discreet but powerful players in the American luxury scene. At 43, Derrick wasn't a man born into privilege. The son of Jamaican immigrants, he'd earned every inch of success. From scholarships that took him to Wharton, to 2 decades of relentless work, building, investing, turning risks into cornerstones. Last year, he quietly acquired Aurelian in a private deal that had sent subtle ripples through the luxury industry. "You want me to have Maya pick out something for the anniversary?" his assistant called from the other room. "The gift's for Elise, not a quarterly report," Derrick replied, smiling as he looked at the photo of his wife. 16 years deserves a personal touch. His outfit, as always, was intentional. Dark jeans, the navy cashmere, loafers from Florence, and Mykonar de Reshaped. No logos, no statements. He didn't need to wear wealth. His parents had taught him that dignity didn't come with a price tag. Unlike most CEOs, Derrick believed the truth about service came when no one knew who was watching. That's why today wasn't a photo op. It was one of his unannounced visits. No entourage, no press, just him, walking into the Aurelian showroom in Beverly Hills like any other customer. The Rodeo Drive flagship was supposed to reflect everything Aurelian stood for: excellence, elegance, and inclusion. Derrick had signed off on the redesign himself, but he hadn't seen it in person since it opened. The manager on site, Trent Bradley, had come with glowing recommendations from the previous owners: 10 years in luxury retail, impeccable metrics, polished presentation. But even perfect resumes don't show you what a man does when no one's looking. I've always believed resumes lie. They tell you where someone worked, not who they humiliated, overlooked, or dismissed along the way. You want to know who someone really is? Watch what they do when the cameras aren't rolling. As Derrick's driver pulled away from the curb, neither of them had any idea what was waiting inside the store, or how the next 7 minutes would ignite a firestorm online and shake the foundations of luxury retail in America. The Beverly Hills flagship of Aurelian fine jewelry shimmered like a shrine to excess. Polished marble floors, cascading chandeliers, glass cases arranged with the precision of museum exhibits. Each diamond appeared to hover in air, suspended by light. Derrick stepped through the doors at exactly 10:15 a.m. nodding politely at the security guard near the entrance. The guard barely looked up. 3 white customers had entered just ahead of him, each welcomed with warm smiles and quiet flattery by black-suited associates. Derrick. Nothing. No hello, no eye contact, no acknowledgement. He moved deeper into the showroom, past more modest displays, toward the high-tier collection he himself had approved just weeks ago. The pieces were rare, pink diamonds sourced from Western Australia, each set in platinum, starting at $100,000. For 5 minutes, Derrick browsed alone, occasionally glancing up. Not one associate approached him. Meanwhile, others attended newer arrivals, offering champagne to a woman who hadn't even made it past the threshold. Eventually, a tall man with silver hair and the posture of self-importance made his way over. Trent Bradley, the store manager, someone Derrick had only read about in performance reports, now stood face-to-face with him, looking for something more. "Within your range?" he asked, voice dipped in a syrupy kind of superiority. "Some don't raise their voice. They just lower yours. Loud enough to shame you. Soft enough to stay safe." "Actually," Derrick replied, calm and firm, "I'm interested in the pink diamond pendant from the anniversary collection. My wife's birthday is coming up." Bradley's jaw tensed. "That piece is $100,000, Octomer. Perhaps something in our silver line might be more suitable." He gestured with a smirk. "We have some beautiful items under $500. The remark wasn't meant to help. It was designed to land, audibly, and it did. Nearby customers paused. Some turned away. Others leaned in. Bradley had struck with precision, not too loud to be accountable, just enough to sting. What he couldn't have known, what not a soul in that store could guess, was that the man he just tried to shrink owned not just the diamonds, but the floor beneath their feet. "I'd still like to see the pendant," Derrick said. The restraint in his voice didn't mask the fire in his eyes. But boardrooms had taught him how to keep that fire behind glass. "Store policy requires income verification for items over $50,000. Bradley lied, smooth as glass. "Do you have any documentation, bank statements, proof of income?" A young associate, Luna, stood nearby, frozen. She looked from Derrick to her manager, the conflict in her eyes plain as daylight. "I don't usually carry tax returns when I shop," Derrick said, "and I haven't seen you ask them for any." He nodded slightly toward a blonde woman sipping champagne, bracelet draped on her wrist. No papers in sight. "Do you have any documentation? Bank statements? Proof of income?" A young associate, Luna, stood nearby, frozen. She looked from Derrick to her manager, the conflict in her eyes plain as daylight. "I don't usually carry tax returns when I shop," Derrick said, "and I haven't seen you ask them for any." He nodded slightly toward a blonde woman sipping champagne, bracelet draped on her wrist. No papers in sight. Bradley leaned in, voice lower, sharper. "This isn't a museum. These pieces cost more than you'll make this year. People like you don't belong here." The air thickened, a silence that hummed with electricity. Luna flinched, but stayed still. "Actually," Derrick said, voice calm but caring, "I was planning to purchase the full anniversary collection, 9 pieces, totaling just over $650,000. Bradley's laugh sliced through the room. "Of course you were. And I'm the King of Monaco." He raised his hand towards security. "Eli, escort this gentleman out." The security guard hesitated. "Sir, I'll need you to come with me." Derrick didn't move, didn't blink, but the pressure of humiliation bore down like gravity. 15 years in luxury circles. Never once had someone demanded proof before letting him look. The guard reached for his arm. "Don't touch me," Derrick said, soft but steeled. "I'll leave on my own." "He's trespassing," Bradley snapped. "Remove him." The guard's hand closed on Derrick's forearm. "Let go of me," Derrick said, louder now. Not angry, commanding. "I'm Derrick Harlan." The name landed like thunder. The guard froze. Luna gasped. Bradley scoffed. "Sure you are? And I'm Elon Musk." "Eli," Derrick reached into his coat. From his wallet, he pulled not a credit card, but a sleek black badge engraved with the Aurelian crest. CEO, in bold. "I acquired this company last year. Every employee received a welcome letter with my photo." The guard let go immediately, face pale. "Sir, I didn't." "You followed instructions," Derrick said, eyes never leaving Bradley. Bradley's face drained of color. "There's a moment when arrogance meets truth and melts. I've seen it. Sir Sunshari, it's not loud. It's quiet, cold. And final one. Sir, I I'm so sorry. I didn't know, Eli stammered. It's not your fault, Derrick said, eyes locked on Trent. You were following orders. The smugness drained from Trent's face. His skin turned pale, like ash. He reached out toward the badge. Desperate. Derrick pulled it back with quiet finality. I don't recall giving you permission to touch my property. He turned to the store. Every eye was on him. Associates frozen in place. Customers holding phones midair. The silence was no longer awkward. It was charged. Would someone call Gloria Winters? The COO? Her number's in the emergency contacts. Luna didn't hesitate. She ran to the counter, hands trembling as she dialed. Some silences don't scream, they convict. It's that split second when a room turns into a courtroom, and every glance is a jury. I've felt it before. The shift, the drop in air pressure, the hush that doesn't come from peace, but from exposure. In that moment, the truth doesn't need to raise its voice. It just needs to show up. And when it does, every lie suddenly looks too loud, too desperate, too small. That was the silence inside Aurelian. Right before the reckoning began, the room held its breath. Trent swayed, one hand on a display case, suddenly unsteady. The speaker crackled. Derrick, are you okay? You're supposed to be at the 11A. Himmers Hamamarn. Nayeri. Board meeting. I'm at the Beverly Hills store, Derrick replied. His voice was clear, level. Please secure the last 15 minutes of security footage and forward it to legal. Also, initiate emergency protocol 7. A murmur ran through the employees. Those who recognized the code, emergency management replacement, stiffened. Trent's face collapsed from shock into desperation. Mr. Harlan, he whispered, there's been a terrible misunderstanding. If I had known who you were, Derrick cut in, still calm. And that's the real issue, isn't it? You think respect is earned through power. Trent stumbled backward. His heel caught the edge of a case. The crash echoed like judgment. No one moved to help. Derrick stepped forward. May I have everyone's attention, please? His voice didn't rise, but it filled the space. And not one person dared to look away. Derrick stood tall, the quiet force of boardrooms and billion-dollar decisions radiating from him. Customers who had inched toward the exits stopped mid-step. Phones lowered slightly. They sensed it. This wasn't just drama. This was a turning point. Within minutes, Gloria Winters pushed through the doors, breathless. She took in the scene, the frozen staff, the shattered display case, the man at the center of it all, and her eyes widened. In 7 years working with Derrick, she had never seen this expression on his face. Not anger. Worse, serenifying, controlled disappointment. Brad, Derrick said, using the nickname deliberately. Would you care to explain why you tried to have me removed from my own store? Bradley's lips trembled. The confidence that once animated him was gone, drained from his face like blood. Mr. Harlan, if I had known who you were, stop. Derrick's tone didn't rise, but it silenced the room. That excuse makes it worse, not better. You're saying you only treat people decently when they have power over you? The question hung like a guillotine. Bradley had no reply. Gloria, Derrick said, turning. Please bring up the past hour's footage on the main display. The store's massive LED wall flickered. Jewelry ads replaced by security feeds. The staff and customers watched, breath held, as it played out. Derrick entering, ignored, brushed past, condescended to. Then came the soundbites, the venom, the order to remove him. When the final insult played, followed by Derrick's calm reveal, gasps rippled across the room. This isn't about me, Derrick said, his voice steady. How many times has this happened to someone else? He turned to the staff. Show of hands. How many of you have witnessed similar behavior toward customers based on appearance, race, or assumed worth? First, Luna's hand rose, then another, then more, over half the staff. Derrick nodded once. Aurelian was built on the belief that luxury means excellence, not exclusion. Brad, you're fired. Effective immediately. Bradley's face contorted, rage and fear colliding. You can't do this. I have a mortgage. A family. So do the applicants you turned away? So do the customers you humiliated. Gloria will walk you out. You'll receive 2 weeks severance, he added. That's more courtesy than you ever offered others. Security approached. No longer reluctant, just professional. There's the renown. Bradley turned back, flushed with rage. This isn't fair, one mistake. It wasn't one mistake, Derrick said. It was a pattern, a choice, a center, and choices have consequences. Bradley disappeared behind the back office doors. Silence reigned again, but this time it wasn't oppressive. It was clarifying. Some reckonings don't arrive with noise. They come dressed in restraint, wearing silence like armor. First, the room changes temperature. Then the glances change meaning. And finally, no one speaks, because everyone already knows. That's the sound of justice in a luxury showroom. Not a gavel, not applause. Just one man refusing to blink, and another being forced to see. The storm had passed. But what came next would reshape everything. Everyone, gather around. Derrick's voice had softened, but lost none of its authority. The staff slowly formed a half circle. Some dabbed at their eyes. Others exchanged glances, unsure if what they just witnessed was real. Customers remained where they stood, many still filming, the air heavy with the weight of transformation. What you witnessed today, Derrick began, wasn't just the failure of one manager. It was a breakdown of our culture, a system that let this happen, that ends now. He turned to Gloria. This location will close for 2 weeks of full retraining. A ripple of relief spread through the staff. Everyone will be paid during this time, and when we reopen, things won't just look different. They'll be different. He stepped forward. Every team member will undergo comprehensive bias training. We'll bring in anonymous mystery shoppers from all walks of life. And most importantly, we're instituting a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination of any kind. One associate stepped forward. Luna, the one who had stood frozen earlier. Mr. Harlan, she said softly. I should have spoken up sooner. I knew what Trent was doing was wrong. But I didn't want to lose my job. Derrick nodded, his voice gentler. Fear is a powerful silencer. Part of this new chapter will be building channels where concerns can be raised without fear, without retaliation. He looked each employee in the eye. Some of you may not be ready for these changes. That's okay. Gloria will accept resignations with 2 weeks severance if this new direction isn't for you. No one moved. But for those who stay, I promise you this. Aurelian will be known for dignity, not exclusion, for excellence, not arrogance. He turned to the customers still lingering. To our guests, I'm deeply sorry for what you witnessed, for what anyone has ever endured here. And to honor that, everyone in the store today will receive a $500 gift certificate. And my personal commitment, this will never happen again. Some things break loud. Others break quiet like trust. And when it does, you don't fix it with slogans. You start with silence, with staying in the room, with facing the people you failed. I don't think anyone standing there believed words could erase what happened. But for the first time, they saw what real accountability looks like. Not polished, not rehearsed. Just necessary. That day wasn't about saving face. It was about building a better one. An older woman stepped forward from the back of the crowd. Designer sunglasses in one hand, decades of experience in her voice. Young man, she said, I've spent 40 years shopping in places like this. I've seen more versions of what happened here than I can count. Usually it's dressed in politeness, coated in smiles, hidden under policy. She paused, eyes meeting Derrick's. But what you did today took courage. You have my loyalty. Soft applause followed. Then stronger nods. To your sultant, whispers, phones lowered. Something shifted. The air that had once felt so tense now buzzed with something else. Possibility. You don't always feel the moment history turns. Sometimes it doesn't roar. It just exhales. And if you're paying attention, you hear it. 6 months later, Derrick stood at a podium inside the same showroom. But it didn't look the same. Gone were the icy counters and glass walls that whispered, don't touch. In their place, warm lighting, open spaces, and staff who greeted every guest like they belonged. Welcome to the new Aurelian, Derrick said as cameras clicked. Behind him, a ribbon shimmered. Because true luxury isn't about who we keep out. It's about what we invite people into. The story had gone viral. 50 million views. News anchors dissecting the moment. Think pieces. Hashtags, der firm one. The footage had leaked from someone on the team. Derrick had a guess. Luna never confirmed. But he didn't care. He welcomed it. Rather than hide, Derrick had leaned in, sharing his experience, admitting the company's failure, and laying out a new standard for what excellence should mean. Industry leaders called it a case study. The Aurelian reset, they dubbed it And the numbers didn't argue. A 38% sales increase in 6 months. Turns out, respect isn't just the right thing to offer. It's profitable. Near the entrance of the redesigned showroom, Derrick paused. A new display glowed under warm lights. The Origin series. Each piece handcrafted by emerging designers from overlooked communities. Launched in response to the incident, the program had already surfaced talent once left in the shadows. Luna, now assistant manager, approached with a young woman at her side. Her eyes scanned the room in awe, her hand gripping her purse like armor. Mr. Harlan, this is Amara. She's a design student at South Coast Institute. She was admiring the Origin series. Derrick extended a hand. Welcome. Amara, you thinking about a future in jewelry design? Yes, sir. I wasn't sure if I belonged here. You do, Derrick replied, guiding her toward the apprenticeship booth. Talent belongs anywhere it's earned. Sometimes the world just needs a reminder. He watched as Luna gave Amara a tour of the upstairs studio. Next to him, Gloria spoke. Was it worth it? Derrick didn't answer right away. He looked across the store. Diverse customers, warmly greeted. Staff who no longer measured value by clothing or color. The most precious thing we make here isn't jewelry, he said at last. It's the space for something better to grow. Some stories end in gold, others end in light. And when you build something better, something meant to last, you don't just change a store. You change who gets to walk through the door. Outside, the new Aurelian sign gleamed in the California sun. No longer a wall, but a window. Have you ever witnessed injustice dressed as luxury? Tell us where you're watching from. Have you ever been judged before you even spoke? Leave a comment. Tell us your story. Type justice if you believe change starts with truth. Hit that subscribe button right now. Don't just scroll past. Join Unveiled Wealth to stand with stories that fight back. Because the world doesn't change until someone refuses to stay silent. This is Unveiled Wealth. And we don't whisper, we unveil. Until next time, stay bold, stay awake. We'll see you in the next story.